Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be painting a cow. It's going to be a fun one. I've got my husband Mark here with me.
Hey there, everybody.
And he's going to be manning the chat. It's our live show this beautiful Saturday afternoon. It's kind of a spring has arrived here for sure. So we're thinking cows and farm and outside, outdoors, all that good stuff. This is my reference image. I got this off of Pixabay. And this is the example painting that I did. So we're going to be using a 9x12 canvas panel. And I've already pre-painted it. I'm sorry, those who are painting along with me. I painted it.
I made her do it.
I know he did. It's Mark's fault. It was just very true. It's not joking. I pre-painted it with 2 parts phthalo blue to 1 part white. So, and I just kind of put it on straight onto the canvas, so it's a little bit streaky. I'll probably add some other color on top of it, but that's how I prepped my canvas because I wanted to pre-sketch it for you guys to save a little bit of time. I'll show you how I did it, but before we get started totally, we've got some little announcement to make for our giveaway. We had a giveaway. If you missed my bicycle video I did on Tuesday night this week, this was really fun. I've been wanting to do a bicycle for months. So we finally got the bicycle and we got our Brush Guys giveaway. The Brush Guys were very generous and they gave us, we gave away a $25 gift card to the brushguys.com during the show for the live folks on Tuesday nights. And then we did a comment contest. So this morning I picked from my comments on that video from Tuesday, and our winner of the $100 gift certificate to thebrushguys.com is...
Drum roll, please.
Deborah Estevez. And she's actually in my Thankful Art group too. She's been in there since last summer. So I'm really happy. Thank you, Deborah, for entering, and congratulations, and thanks for all of those who entered as well. We were really excited to be able to give you some really cool prizes. We do it as often as we can. So that was supposed to be for our 60,000 subscriber giveaway, and we're at 66 today. So
No,
we're a little slow, but that's all right.
We have a bunch of empty Coke cans and stuff like that we can draw to give away
That's
also.
true. I've got a whole stack of old pallets. Oh, I can't reach them. Sorry,
don't
I'm
go
taped to my
anywhere.
chair. I can't get them. But yeah, we could give away some stuff like that. I was thinking, maybe I'll just give away my my liner here. It's getting dirty. We need to get a new one. Tablecloth. So yeah, message me if you want it.
We can bottle up the old dirty paint water too. Everything's for sale. Everything's to give away. So just let us know what you need.
I don't know about that. That's going too far.
All right. Trying to be a businessman here.
I know. All right. Our color palette's pretty simple. I just mainly chose, this cow was a brown cow, and had a lot of russet kind of undertones, reddish undertones. So I went with the blue background because I figured the orangey, the blue would look good against the orangish colors in the cow. But our color palette is raw sienna, and this is our main color for the cow. This is a color called Indian Yellow Hue, but you could use a cadmium yellow or something like that instead. It's just to give a little bit of this soft yellow in some places. We're going to mix it with white. This is yellow oxide, teal, which is also an optional color. You can mix this with some phthalo blue and a little bit of yellow or some phthalo green. This is phthalo blue green shade. Burnt sienna, and that's our undertone color. Burnt umber, which is also one of our dark shadow colors. Cadmium red medium, and that's just for some of the highlights and things. It's a little bit of pinkish color. It works well with the blues and the yellow that we're using. And then some carbon black for the eyes, and some white and unbleached titanium, of course. It's like my favorite go-to color. So let me, I'm going to move my water palette up, my water jar up out of the way a little bit so I can try to keep my palette in the shot today. We'll see how that works. Got my 9 by 12 inch canvas here already prepped. And I'm going to pop up the image in the corner for you so you can see my example. And let's draw the cow real quick. So I decided to tilt the head just a little bit like I did in the example there, but I felt like in my example that one of the ears was a little lower than the other one. I didn't do a line straight across to help keep them in line with the eyes. So I thought this time let's just do that. So I kind of figured out how big my canvas was. I wanted them to take up the whole space. So I just sort of tried to figure out where to put my big oval shape to start with. So I just did a big oval shape for the whole cow. It's kind of more like an egg shape, so it's a little bit wider at the top than at the bottom. And that was just the initial kind of design to sort of get an idea of where I wanted the cow to fit in my canvas. Then I cut the top of that off with the straight line. So all the way across. And this should be flat here. This should be flat here. Then, well, let me try to keep it straight for you guys so you can see it. I'll straighten it up with the edge of the thing there. Okay, so then this line is straight here. This is the bottom of the ears. Then the head is wide as like one, if your ear, there's the ear width, right? If you go from the temple to the middle of the face, there should be about an inch or just a little bit of space, not quite 1.5 spaces there. So, and then these ears should be equal width. So that will help. This one's going to end up going off the canvas a little bit, I think, but that's okay. And I might could bring in this a little bit to give me more room. So then once I get these two lines in, and I just kind of guessed, on the width of the ears, just however wide you wanted them. Then I'm going to do kind of the top of the forehead of the cow within those two lines. Then the top of this ear here is going to come down just a little bit from this top line here, and it'll curve up all the way to the line and back down a little bit. And then this one's going to start right at the line and kind of go a little bit straighter and then curve up. And that one's off camera, so you won't see it, but we'll do this one. So down a little bit, up to the line, and kind of up to a point that the point of the ear is a little bit high, so it's not like quite centered here. It's a little bit at the top point, and then you kind of come down to the line and almost straight. There's a little bit of a curve right here. Okay, so those are our two ears. Does that make sense? Hopefully. I might make this one a little bit bigger because we'll just embrace it. I was trying to fit it in there, but it's just not going to work. We'll just embrace the fact that it's going off the canvas. Right, the back of the cow is actually back here, so this ear will just cover it completely this time. Then right here in the center of the face, and you can make a line down the middle if you want to, there's like this starburst thing that happens in the cow. And then the eyes are right below or right on top of this lower line here. So you're going to do a circle right on the edge of your cow on either side, like that, and then cut it off a little bit by doing like this V shape right here. And this should kind of point down towards the nose, so it'll kind of point this way. If you want to do these two lines that kind of point down toward the nose, that'll kind of help you with the inner duct of the eyes, and these kind of come like that, and then this part gets cut off, and the eyelashes actually kind of point down like that. All right, so not too hard so far. Then right from underneath the eye, it kind of curves in a little bit. And then it curves back out slightly. And then at the bottom of this oval, this line should be parallel to this line. Okay, so that'll keep your cow face centered. Then this line and this line will be even. And I would say, I'm trying to see, the bottom of the muzzle is almost the same distance as from this star to the top of the muzzle, if that makes sense. So if you want to measure that, that might help you get it spaced correctly. So the muzzle is going to do this weird kind of V shape that comes outside the edge of your oval. And it's not a sharp corner, it actually curves right here. So curve that line a little bit right there, but it does come outside the edge of the face. And then it curves up a little bit and back down. So it's got this kind of thing going on like that. So there's our cow. Then for the nostrils, there's kind of a curved line right up underneath. There's a little space right here. And then the nostrils kind of point down towards this. So you just kind of do a little angled line right here. And this one points down this way, so you do another one right here. Okay, and then it kind of rounds out at the bottom. Does a little teardrop shape a little bit. Do I have my mic moving? What?
People would never know if you just want to say anything.
I'm sorry. It's distracting when you come walking over and messing with my tapes.
Okay, we'll have to practice this then. We'll just practice later on tomorrow or something.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to round this out, and there's just a little teeny tiny bit of space. And this area is dark right here. And then this is the white area around the mouth. Okay, so not too hard, right? Then the body of the cow is coming down here, and there's a few little folds in his fur or her fur right there. And that's about it. So I'm going to take my cloth before I get paint going here, and I'm just going to dip it in my water and gently wipe off some of the extra lines that I don't want to see. Well, and really the inside of the cow, it's not going to matter. It's just the outside lines here, like around the ears, that I don't want showing. Okay, that's good. All right, for the main cow fill in, I'm going to use about a 1/2 inch flat bright brush. This is my titanium, Robert Simmons titanium. And they do sell these at the Brush Guys. They're not on my list, but because they're not going to be continuing to carry them on the Brush Guys. So what's theirs, what's left. So if you are wanting to pick some up, you can try that while they still have them. This one's the flat bright, or the number 6 bright. It's a good kind of medium-sized brush.
So can I comment right now that it's not nearly as intricate or long to just draw Stickman? I mean, that cow took like forever to draw.
15 minutes? We're 15 minutes in, and I know, it's true.
So maybe just stick to Stickman. Somebody else said.
You could stick to Stickman.
Okay. It's what I do best.
If you're new to my show, welcome. We are really glad to have you join us today. And Mark is referring to our mascot, Stickman, who gets pulled out once a show, and we add something to him depending on whatever we're painting.
Almost once a show.
He got a cadmium blue.
He did.
Which is a made-up color that Mark made up. That was our $25 winning question from Tuesday night. Yep. Which I thought was a great question. Yeah. So, but yeah, I do acrylic painting tutorials on twice a week right now, and if you want to look at my schedule, you can check out my channel after the show. Here I've got burnt sienna here that I'm just filling in this body. So we're all about having fun while we're learning to paint, pretty much. Mark's keeps me on my toes. I'm going to grab some burnt umber here, and I'm going to go a little bit darker right up under around the ear. Yeah, he keeps it interesting around here. So, Mark is an engineer, so he's definitely not an art guy, but he tries. And he definitely is very supportive of what I do, so I appreciate him.
Tries is a very liberal word.
I'm grabbing some of my burnt or raw sienna, and while this is wet, I'm just going to kind of blend in a little bit of this in a few places. The I guess, is it fur on a cow? Is it hair? The hair is kind of growing in this direction generally. So I'm just going to kind of pull some lighter. It's going to mix with the dark color. Now, if your paint is starting to dry, don't do this. And don't worry about it if it's drying. We'll add more layers to this later. So don't worry about it if your paint was dry and you didn't get to blend this in, because we don't want the paint to start lifting. That is a very common problem that beginners learning to paint with acrylics have, is that they're taking their time with it and trying to be real perfect about every little brush stroke, and then when they go back to blend, it's already dry or starting to dry. And if it's starting to dry, if it's in the middle of the drying process, acrylics get sticky, and when they get sticky, they will stick to anything, including your brush, and they'll lift right off the canvas. So if you've ever tried blending when your paint's half dry, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to use this dark color up here too, and I'm just going to use the edge of my brush to kind of pull a few little fluffy hairs. This cow has weird hair. It's really fun to paint because it's going every which direction. So, very fun. We'll do that all the way along there. And then right here, these kind of come up over the top. There's some that come this way too, but we'll just start transitioning down into the forehead. I'm grabbing a little bit of Phthalo Blue, mixing that with my burnt sienna. And I'm going to put that in the ear here, nice and dark. And since it's our background color, the Phthalo Blue mixed with the burnt sienna will just give it a interesting contrast, a little bit different color, kind of ties together the background with the cow. We'll use a lot of blue in him to unify the painting. It's just a real good practice.
So are cows like sheep? I mean, like, is it a compliment to say they're boxy looking? Or is that an insult to cows?
I think they're pretty, I think they're pretty proud of their boxiness.
That they like boxy?
Think.
Okay.
I would think.
All right.
It's pretty sexy.
Just want to make sure I don't want to offend any cows.
I'm not going to say what I said about the sheep, because I don't want to get in trouble again. YouTube's got new guidelines about what you can and can't say, and I don't want to get flagged.
But it was so funny.
That's okay.
So is there going to be a traceable for this?
Yes, there will be. And the traceable, the new traceables are available on my Patreon account. So if you want to check that out, there's a link down in the description that says for traceables. Check out Patreon. They're $1 for a whole month. Includes all the traceables for the current month plus all the ones from previous months. So pretty good deal. Gives me a little bit extra cash to pay for Mark's coffees.
Coffee? I'm enjoying...
Or are you drinking wine today? No, it's too early for wine.
Dihydrogen oxide here.
Okay.
Refreshing.
Nice.
No, but it is paying. I'm going to be going by the camera store.
Yep.
Monday during my lunch of my 9 to 5 job and start scoping out what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Get a new camera, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it got burnt, the raw sienna and burnt sienna. So and mix the two of them together. It makes this kind of medium brown color. I'm just going a little bit darker. If you notice, one of the things with acrylics that's really important is to look, when you're looking at a photograph, say, and I've got my photograph of my cow, look to see what the darkest color is in your area that you're wanting to paint. So don't paint from light and try to add dark later. The light colors go on top. So you work from the dark and then bring it to the light with acrylics. It's like the total opposite of watercolor. So if you're used to painting with watercolor, you'll be a little bit, it'll be a little bit of a mind bender. But you look at the dark colors, try to see the undertones in whatever subject it is you're doing. See how dark some of these little areas are. That's why I'm going so dark on the cow. He'll end up with light colors on top, but we have to put those darks in to give us some contrast first. So that's what I'm doing here. In fact, I want to go a little bit darker than this. I think I'm just going to grab a little bit more of that burnt sienna. I just wanted it one shade lighter so that I could see it against the background of the cow here that I've already painted. So just want a little bit lighter. Go right up to the eye. This side of the face is a little bit smooth. Everything else is kind of fuzzy, but the sides of the face are pretty flat. So I'm going to put those in kind of smooth. So yeah, I'm excited about getting a new camera. Maybe we'll have, I'm thinking that maybe we'll have a camera set on the, we'll either do a close-up cam or do a palette cam, and maybe both if we can get the, I don't know. We've got a couple other cameras that we can maybe work into. Got my webcam.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Since I don't want to be on camera, might as well use it for something else, right?
Other than collecting dust.
Right, exactly. Well, I use it for some things. I use it for my Skype calls and things, but okay, I'm using burnt umber up here just because it's really dark up underneath the transition between these two layers there. What were you going to say, hon? I cut you off.
I have no idea what I was going to say,
Okay.
honestly.
All right. Grabbing burnt umber. Let's put the burnt umber right in that little star spot, and I'm just going to use my brush to kind of indicate what direction I want those hairs to go in while I'm putting them down. It'll just help me later when I'm putting my lighter colors in, go faster, so I'll know already kind of where everything's supposed to go. This is kind of smooth up along the front of the, on top of the eye. Right there, there's actually a lid. And I'm going to go ahead and put in that area around the eye a little bit. This is actually lighter right here, so I'll go a little bit lighter. This is definitely an Impressionist painting, so the idea is to express the feeling of the subject without going into fine detail. We're not going for realism. It's a really good technique, I think, for beginners, especially because it takes some of the fear, some of the anxiety out of painting, makes it a little bit more fun. You can just kind of enjoy the process, get your feelings out on the canvas if you've had a bad day. I actually talked to one of my Patreon ladies, Gail, this week, and my Skype call with her, and she is a counselor, and she was talking about how she uses art with her folks who have depression or different things, and how much it helps, that she called art brain food. She said it was brain food because it helps your brain, it heals your brain. So
That's interesting.
yeah, I know. It was really interesting to hear from like a professional, about just how important art is, and how much it can help people, because it kind of takes you out of your circumstances, gives you something else to dwell on besides what you're anxious about. So I've got the raw sienna here, or raw sienna, and I'm just going to put a little bit up by the nose right here.
And I was just going to say, I'm impressed by the painting. So it is impressionistic.
Har har.
You're welcome. Hey, we have some new people in here, and so they were asking what is the best way to do to trace a image onto a canvas.
I use chalk because you can erase it. It's a lot easier to control for me.
But no, but if they use your traceable,
Oh, if they use my traceable, you're going to want to, and I can't reach it from here, you're going to want to get, I think down in the description, I should have a, right there, that thing right there. You're going to want to get some transfer paper, it's called. You can also just use, also want that tracing paper up there. That, yeah, grab that. So this is tracing paper that I've just drawn onto. So when you print out your design or whatever you want to trace it onto some tracing paper that's transparent. And then what you can do is go on the back side here and draw really heavily with like a charcoal pencil or something like that to even pastels can work, and mark straight onto your tracing paper, lay that down, and then trace again, and it'll transfer some of whatever it is that you've put on the back of the tracing paper. But I like to use transfer paper because it's a little bit less messy. It doesn't mess up my tracing so that I can use it multiple times. And it's just got the graphite right on the paper. So you put the dark side down onto your canvas, and you lay your tracing over the top, and you trace it with, I use a stylus like this. It's like a steel-tipped little tool for nails. Or you can use an old ballpoint pen that's run out of ink, or a pencil if you're careful about it. But I find that the metal tool doesn't punch through the tracing paper as quickly as like a pencil will. So I'm all about keeping my tracings nice so I can use them multiple times. So, all right, let me spray my canvas, my palette here with a little bit of water. I keep a little bit of water in a spray bottle just handy while I'm working to keep my acrylics moist, because they will dry out really quickly. And all right, so we've got pretty much our base down now, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll work on the muzzle a little bit, and then we'll go back in and work on the hair some more once the base coat is dry. So I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller brush. I think I'm going to grab my 3/8 inch angle. This is a Zen brush by Royal Langnickel. And I'm going to grab some of the yellow oxide and a little bit of the unbleached titanium. And we'll use that here on the muzzle. And I'm just going to use short brush strokes to kind of outline it. Don't worry about it being perfect. That's the whole idea behind Impressionists. You want these little brush strokes kind of overlapping each other. You want that layered effect. We're going to put multiple layers in. You want a little bit of that blue to show through. So don't feel like you have to fill this in completely carefully and perfectly. I think it has more charm when it has some of the brush strokes showing and a little bit of imperfection about it. So I'm deliberately a little bit sloppy with it. That's what I'm saying. Now, if you're new to painting, you can take your time a little bit more, and you want it, you don't want it to be all over the place, but I still don't want you to feel like you have to get this just right. If you do go outside the lines, you can use your towel like this and just wipe off while the paint's wet, and then go back in and fix it. Just don't rub too hard, because it will lift the paint off if you do that too often in the same place while this paint's not completely cured yet. I'm going to grab some burnt or phthalo blue here. Mix that together with whatever color here that I had, the yellow oxide and unbleached titanium, and I'm going to use this underneath on this bottom lip. There's a blue shadow right here, right up under the lip. I'm going to grab some burnt umber And go nice and dark too, right there. Kind of blend those two together just a little bit by just tapping slightly on them. I used the edge of my brush to draw my line. So I got a nice, if I push my brush flat and I get a nice straight line there, I can just use that along the bottom edge to get a line. And let's go up here and do a little bit of this color up here. A little bit of it, that brown around the edges of the nostrils to be a good base color for our nose. It's going to be mostly grays and brown, blacks, but mix those two together just slightly. I'm just tapping along that edge to kind of blend that brown and that yellow just slightly, just to soften that transition. Like that. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more of the Unbleached Titanium, and it's mixing with these colors that I have on my brush, so, and I want it to. And I'm just going to put that on the bottom lip there. Somebody was asking me about how I keep my paints from taking over the plate. So I thought I told her I would show you real quick here. So when I'm blending, mixing colors and things, she said, you know, I'd start out mixing two colors together, and the next thing I know, it's covered my whole plate. She's like, I don't know how you put on, 8 different colors. I can only put on like 3 colors on my plate.
Can I tell them the secret?
What?
That she talks to them before the show starts. She gives them a very stern look and tells them to behave, or else.
Thank you, honey.
That's some behind-the-scenes info there for everybody.
My secret.
Right. So go ahead, just talk to your paints. Nobody will think you're crazy.
Well, one thing I asked is if she was using craft paint, because craft paints that come in little bottles are very, very thin, and they will migrate all over the plate. But she was using heavy body acrylics. Heavy body acrylics do what they're told, and they stay put. So wherever you put it is where it's going to stay. You can turn your plate upside down; it's not going to move. So Mark's right. So what I do though is, if you notice, I pull just little bits of paint off the side, and if I'm mixing quite a large color, I end up using my brush kind of like cake batter. If you've ever kind of mixed something and I'm mixing and mixing, and it kind of starts moving out where I don't want it to go, I will press off the extra and use that edge of my brush just like I would a spatula, and squeegee off that paint and get it on my brush, and then I'll plop it right down. I just set it down and twist to push off the extra batter, or the extra paint in this case. So that's how I keep it when I'm blending. So say, if I had another color and I was blending here, and I would just go back to blend, blend, blend. And if it moved, out and it was getting close to where I didn't want it, I would press off my extra in the area where I want it to be, and just use that brush to scoop it up and push it back where I want it, just like you would cake batter in a bowl. Okay, so it's not that tricky. It just, the more you do it, the quicker I do it, and I do it without even thinking about it. And that's the thing, I thought, okay, I'm just going to slow down and show you exactly what I'm doing, because I'm doing it so quickly a lot of times that I don't even realize that I've done it, that I haven't stopped and told you how it was done. So there you go, insider info. No extra charge for that. I'm realizing my nostrils are a little bit high on this guy. I'm going to clean that out. So I did not need that color right then. Clean it out of my brush really good. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. I'm going to grab my 1/4 inch bright here. Actually, no, I think I'm going to go with like a number 4 round.
Doesn't matter which end of the brush you use when you paint?
Sorry. Dramatic pause. What did you just ask me? Oh my God.
You should have seen her. She just kind of stopped completely there for a second. Did not move.
I was thinking, did I hear that right? I'm like, what the heck, honey? Oh, don't do that to me. Now I can't paint while I'm laughing, so. Okay, so I moved the nostrils down just slightly. I felt like they were a little bit high there. So now I've got that empty space. You're so mean to me. I know you did that on purpose.
Well, I mean, there are some new painters here. I don't want to assume anything. And if they're like me,
Don't.
it would be a real question.
I can't talk when I'm laughing. You're gonna make me choke. Okay, I've got some gray here that I mixed with my black and white. Just pure black and white here. Well, I'll move it around so you can see the color. It's kind of a medium gray. I'll pull off the extra. You're not. To put you on timeout today or something. Okay, so there's this rounded thing happening. It dips down low and then it rounds out again around the nostrils here, and then it kind of tapers down in. All right, I'm gonna grab a little bit more of the black. This middle part is pretty dark. I'll wipe off the extra on my paper towel here and just blend those in a little bit. Just wipe off the extra and blend out those edges. Wipe off the extra, blend them out. This gray was still a little bit wet underneath here, so it's blending slightly with my black. You can add a little water to it too. Whoops. I need to be holding this because it's the shine is right where I was doing that. Sorry. Okay. So dark. Right up under here. Just doing random brush strokes. It's pretty messy looking. That's normal. That's kind of what we're going for. So don't feel like you have to blend it out perfectly. We're just kind of going for this basic shape. Curves in just slightly right here and here. I'm going to grab a little bit of my unbleached titanium and mix that with what's left on my brush. Make a really light gray, and I'm going to use that kind of along those edges. Add a little bit of it underneath the nostrils here and there. The nose is probably the hardest part of this painting, so if you can get past this part, then the rest is home free. It's just got a lot of little layers here to get it kind of where we want it. There we go. It's looking okay so far. I think I need a little bit darker right in here. I'm going to make that a little bit wider. There we go. And there's kind of a slit that happens right here that kind of goes straight up, right here and here. And then it kind of rounds out. So let me grab a little bit of white. My white's gotten all sloppy, soupy. I'm gonna add a little bit of white to the top here and here. I'll wipe off my brush. And then take those edges and just blend them out a little bit. Wipe it off. Pull off. You can use your paintbrush like a sponge. Just kind of tap off extra paint that's where you don't want it. And I'm just kind of blending those out so they're not so obvious. I outline the nostril just a little bit. I'll go back in and add some brighter highlights later, but right now we're just kind of putting in these kind of base undertones. So that white was a little bit bright. Just toning it down and kind of mixing it in. I'm going to let this set because it's starting to lift my grays because they're starting to dry. So I'm going to let that set and we'll put in the background for the eyes. So I'm going to grab a burnt umber and a little bit of black, mix those two together, and we'll fill that in for the eyes. And I'm actually kind of doing the eyelid too, so I'm going to do a little bit wider than I want the eye to be. It's kind of a almond shape almost here. It's pointing down towards the nose. I'll do the same thing over here. The outside of the eye is like right on the out edge of the body, and then the inner part of the eye kind of points down towards the nose. This one got a little bit off.
Okay, well, I have a question, but I'm only asking it because somebody else has asked a similar question in chat. So I figure, well, obviously need to know. Which is, notice...
That got a little bit far out. What? Go ahead.
I noticed that some of your brushes have a very long handle.
Yes.
And then somebody asked if the Princeton line had a short handle.
They do have a Princeton Select. Well, they have different brushes, but the ones that I have on my list are long-handled ones.
Okay, now let me finish my question.
Okay.
So, why are there short handle and long handle, and does it make a difference?
It makes a difference if you're doing decorative paintings, which is like brush strokes and things like that. You want the shorter handles. It gives you a little bit more control over the angle, and usually you're holding it really, really close to the actual brush part to do, decorative brush strokes. And I have a whole video on how to do, different decorative brush strokes with your brushes. But with the longer handled ones, some painters will actually hold their brush like this and paint in a very painterly style and use the end of the brush. So they have them for that reason. And also it gives you a little bit more leverage when you're painting in different areas. I don't know, it gives you a little bit more weight behind it. So especially if you're using the thicker paints, it's kind of easier to kind of pull through, and you'll find a lot of the decorative paintings have like a softer bristles and shorter handles, and the heavier, thicker or stiffer bristled brushes will have longer handles because it's a little bit easier to kind of, I don't know, it gives it counterbalance or something. I don't really know exactly why, but...
Okay. So have you noticed that between a cheaper brush and a more expensive brush, if there's a difference in the weight of the brush, meaning like are they different woods so that one is a little bit heavier than the other and gives that balance like you're talking about?
That, and I mean, like the Zen brushes are made out of, like, I think they're plastic completely, which is, you would think that it's not a great thing, but they're lightweight. So if you're painting for, if you have trouble with arthritis or any, problems with your hand, it's not going to fatigue your hand as much as a wood brush would, maybe. And it also won't crack, because I'm so notorious for leaving my paint brushes in the water until they crack. So that's one of the things I do like about these ones. These were on my recommended list. There are several of these on my recommended list. So I really like them. They're a little bit softer than the titanium ones are, but okay, so I'm going to grab, I need to keep painting here. We're never going to get through this.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to start. I've got, I have this brown and black mixture, and then I've grabbed the unbleached titanium with it, and I'm just pulled from the side of the puddle to make my little mixture right here. And I'm going to twist off the extra so I don't have too much of my brush, and I can even use my paper towel here to wipe off a little extra. Sometimes when you mix colors, you end up with too much on your brush. So I'm going to use this color and just tap in my eyelid over the top here of that. And let's do another one right here. Just kind of a curved line on either side. Try to get them to match. And then we'll do a curved line underneath a little bit. And you can kind of clean up any edges, trying to get those even. There we go. All right, there's a little bit of there we go. And this actually kind of pulls down right here, so we want a little bit of that too. It curves down around on either side right here. Okay, that's good. I'm going to grab the black, and now I'm going to go back in with my black, and I'm just going to darken up the bottom of the eyes. Make sure they're nice and dark. I have the light color still on my brush, so it's actually going to outline it slightly with the light color, maybe, too. Okay. Round this off. This should be a circle here and a circle here, or part of one that's cut off at the top. So there we go. Wipe that off. And I'm going to use a little bit of this lighter color, just tap a little bit of it right here to do like a little, you know, they have the little inner part of the eye right there. It's really important to put that in right there and there. Okay. Grab some of the, I need to clean that up better. Grab some of that unbleached titanium and some of this yellow, Indian yellow. It's going to make a really pretty bright orangey yellow color. It's just a little bit brighter than the yellow oxide. I'm going to use that on my nose a little bit here. I'm going to start, now that this is all dry, now I can kind of finalize some of the details on this. I'm going to put some of this yellow underneath. I'm going to start grabbing my unbleached titanium and mix that with it and just kind of blend them together with this brush. Just kind of leave a little bit of the previous layers showing, but I'm just going to kind of dab in some of this unbleached titanium, and I'm keeping it fairly thick. Wipe that off. I'm going to grab some white. I feel like it's getting very yellow. Let's use some white down here. And then I'm going to grab some of the raw sienna. Wipe that off. I'm going to use that along my edges. Just going to blend out those edges a little bit, and even grab a little bit of the burnt umber, I think. Mix that with all of what I've got going on here. Kind of a soft brown. We'll just use that along those edges to kind of soften the edge of the lip all the way around. And notice I'm not pulling long brush strokes. I'm just kind of doing these like dabbing brush strokes. It's kind of blending with some of my wet paint. Adding a little bit of a shadow. Softening the transition between these two colors a little bit. This is the burnt umber mixture. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of it right around the nostril too, just slightly.
Okay, got a question about paints, paint types.
A little bit more white here. Yes. go
Somebody
ahead.
asked, what is the main difference between a soft body fluid paint and a heavy body paint?
Just well, depending on what brand you're using. If you're talking professional paints, the only difference is the viscosity. Grabbing the unbleached titanium here, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my gray too, and we'll start kind of blending on the nose again. Let's add a little bit of that unbleached titanium right down here, this bottom part of the lip. I'm trying to stay away from this area that's the blue, but I'm going to do that bottom part of the lip a little bit brighter right there. And if I need to blend it together, I'm going to grab that burnt umber mixture. Mix that. Maybe grab a little bit of my phthalo blue. I'll get back to the question here in a minute. I just get a tricky area. Phthalo blue. Don't want to lose that blue, so grab the unbleached titanium. I wiped off everything that was on my brush, so now I'm grabbing that unbleached titanium. I'm going to mix that back in while that blue is wet. Just pull. There we go. If you're getting frustrated with your, painting and it's just not looking right, a lot of times it's just that it still needs a few more layers. So this painting, and especially it's right now, if you looked at this, you would say you're doing something wrong. Your brain's going to start trying to tell you you're doing something wrong. So you're just going to have to kind of ignore that. I've got the burnt umber mixture with this. What's on my brush here? I'm going to put a little bit of that. And just realize this is a process. It's just going to take several layers, and acrylics is all about layering to achieve the effect you're going for. Let's start putting in. I'm kind of liking the nose. Let me add a little bit more black. Let me grab that black and just kind of sharpen up that nostril there and wipe off most of it. Add a few little just dark areas right there. Grab a little bit of that phthalo blue with unbleached titanium mixture that I was using on the bottom lip. We'll use a little bit of that in here. And then I think just a little bit of white is all we need. So I'm going to use, my brush is dirty, so we're making dirty white here, honey. It's kind of a grayish white. And I'm going to do kind of a strategic couple of little highlights there. Do another one here. One kind of that sort of spans the nose to make it look wet, and that's it. I'm going to leave it. I might come back later and add, well, let me grab a little bit of the medium gray color. Just put another little thing. So you see that? It's a lot of little dabs and dashes. It's just where you put it that kind of brings you want the high points where the lights catch in to have that lighter spots. Okay. Let's work a little bit more on the eye, and then we'll get the fur going, and we'll be done. The fur goes real fast.
Well, it's actually hair.
Hair. Okay, hair.
And did you ever answer the question?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
I'm just not in a good spot to answer anything right this second.
Okay.
I'll
make something up for you.
Okay. I'll do it here in a minute. I promise.
Okay.
I won't forget.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to grab the teal, and I'm going to put the teal along this outside edge of the eye. Just a little bit of it. I might even wet it down a little bit so that it blends out slightly. I want it real close to the edge, not quite over the top of the black line. So just right close, but there we go. So a little bit of that color. I'm going to grab some white. A little bit of blue in my gray. There's a lot of color mixing in this one, so sorry if that freaks you out. We're just making kind of a light blue gray here. And wipe most of it off my brush, and I'm just going to use it to gently lay in a little bit of highlight on the top portion of the eye. Wipe it off, grab a little bit of that black, and I'm going to kind of brush back over it a little bit with the black to kind of blend it in slightly. Grab a little bit more of that color. Just trying to blend it into the eye slightly so that there's kind of a soft blend there. I could use water to do this too. I could use like if you are familiar with decorative painting, you could float a little highlight in the eye there. Just soft, very subtle. You don't want it too dark. And now I'm going to grab my brighter white. I'm going to add just a little bit of brighter white right here and here. Just kind of a little brush stroke, and maybe another dot or two. They don't have to match up exactly. There we go. And then if I want to pull this eye more rounded, I can kind of do a very small one with the tip of my brush right along where that edge of the eye is going to round out. Maybe another one right here where it curves in. There we go. I'm going to leave that for now. I might add a little bit more to it later, but for now I like it. Okay, so viscosity in paints. I've got burnt umber here. I don't know, honey. I'll have to get to this in a minute because I've got this complicated here. Burnt umber and unbleached titanium. I promise I will get to that question. I just can't answer it and teach at the same time. All right, so right up underneath the eyelid, I'm just going to put some burnt umber and unbleached titanium. Grab a little bit of white and do a bright highlight right along that lid there. Probably need to zoom in a little bit. Oh, it's probably too late. Probably too late. Got a dark color right up along the top edge. I'm actually going to use some black. Just do dark right up over the top of that seam. There and there. I'm going to do the same thing underneath this one. It's going to look really dark, but we'll blend it in. Use a little bit of water and just blend that in. These eyes are not like, I don't know, they're just kind of a lot of different layers to. You just kind of need that little shadow underneath them to make them pop out a little bit more. Get real close up over the top of that lid there. And then this actually covers over part of that right there. So this dark line kind of comes down over the top of that just slightly. actually feel like this light color is a little bit too close, so I'm going to move it. It's making the eyeball look weird shaped. Try it again. Grab some white. There we go. Just moved it inward just a little bit. Okay. Craft acrylics are very thin. They're also cheaper. They have less pigment. They're really easy for beginners to learn with, but they won't have the vibrancy of the colors that you'll get with the heavy body acrylics. The soft body acrylics that are the professional acrylics will have the same pigment load as the heavy body acrylics. You can even get fluid acrylics that are like craft acrylics, and I use those a lot with the golden fluid acrylics. I'm going to use my wet paper towel here and just wipe off my chalk lines. So viscosity doesn't always mean lower quality, like a lower viscosity paint. You can get the thinner paints kind of like a craft paint with the heavy body acrylic, or with the professional quality acrylics. And the difference between the professional and the cheaper paints are just that they have more of the color pigment mixed into them. So they are going to be more vibrant. They're going to cover better and last longer, go farther. Let me see. I'm going to grab the Unbleached. So but a lot of the like Liquitex Basics, Galleria, Amsterdam. Trying to think some of the different student level paints that are in between craft paints and the heavy body acrylics or the professional level acrylics will be softer body. And so sometimes the soft body paints will be the student quality. So you kind of have to know what you're getting. But the student quality paints are like a step above the craft acrylics. They have a little bit better pigment load, but they're not nearly as much as or not nearly as expensive as the professional paints, and they don't have as much tinting strength, so they won't cover as well. So, all right, so I'm going to grab the Unbleached Titanium here, a little bit of my raw Sienna, mix those two together, and I'm going to do this eyelid that kind of comes in right here and down.
That's what I was going to say.
Over the top. That's what you were about to say, but you weren't sure.
Well, I mean,
right.
This is your channel after all. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Okay. Sorry, that was like the never-ending question, but I had to...
No, it's okay. I didn't mind. It wasn't my question.
Okay. So I brought that in on either side there a little bit. Grab the raw Sienna, blend over. These areas here are just kind of a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to go ahead and add small choppy brush strokes to these areas here to kind of fill in. Around's going to look really weird, but we needed that inner eye to be cut off a little bit. I might even cut it off a little bit more right there, just to kind of shape out that eye a little bit better. Okay. Then this lid gets a little bit of a highlight here and here. There we go. Starting to come together now. Another highlight here on this lid and this lid. Let's put in some of our hair. I'm gonna grab a longer, like 1/4 inch flat for that, and we'll start with the raw Sienna. Add a little bit of the burnt sienna to it. Grab that color that we mixed that had both colors. We'll start over here and we'll just kind of add some strokes. And you're gonna see brush strokes in this, and that's kind of what we're going for. So don't worry about that too much. If you see too much of a pattern happening, you can grab. I'm going to grab the burnt sienna here, and just kind of cover over parts of the area where, you know, if you feel like it looks like a repeated brush stroke over and over again. Kind of, that's sort of what we're trying to avoid. Let me mix together this red, cadmium red light, and a little bit of the burnt unbleached titanium. Sorry, think of the color. I'm making a soft pinkish red. Use a little bit of this over here. It's going to look really weird at first, but once we get all the other colors mixed in with it, it'll make sense. So I'll put a little bit on his cheek. Do a little bit over here too. We'll kind of have it underneath. We'll be layering other colors over the top of this, so, but you'll still be able to see a little bit of it here and there. Maybe put a little bit up in here. Okay, so that's all we need for that color. Clean that out. Grab the burnt umber. I'm going to put a little bit of dark right up here. Just a few brush strokes with this dark burnt umber. There was like a folds in the skin right here and here, so we'll go ahead and reinforce those dark shadows there. And reinforce some dark color underneath here. While that's wet, I'm going to grab some burnt sienna and kind of brush a few little random strokes in there with it, just to soften it up. And go over the top of the red a little bit. Okay, it's being nice and dark just right there where the head pops out. Grab a little bit of the Phthalo Blue, mix that with the burnt sienna, and then add a little bit of that in with that dark color too, kind of like what we did with the ear. Okay. Actually, I need that color in the ear too, so I'll grab that, put a few little brush strokes in the ear, a few little brush strokes with the burnt umber. It's kind of the inside of the ear, and right here where it meets the body is very dark. So I want to make sure that that area is nice and dark. Grabbing that Phthalo Blue, burnt sienna mixture, doing some of that color right in here, and the ear hairs grow down like this, so just kind of pulling them in that direction. Alright, let's put in our ear hairs. I'm going to grab the unbleached titanium, I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to mix in some yellow oxide. Just going to pick up a little bit of some of these colors too that are already underneath, but that's okay. And I'm going to start on the face here. This part is very light, so I'm going to start at the bottom, close to the nose, leave a little bit of a space there. Don't want to cover it up completely. And I'm going to start laying in some layers of hairs, and they're going to kind of narrow as they get towards the top of the nose. I'm going to grab some raw sienna, mix some of those in there, pull some down the side with the raw sienna. And you see I'm kind of skipping around so you can leave a little bit of that red showing through. Go right up to the eye. Raw sienna. Grab some burnt sienna, mix that in with that. Do the burnt sienna right in here. It's kind of a shadow right here between the eye and the middle part of the bridge of the nose there. It kind of goes up over the top. These paints are all wet, so they're kind of just moving around, blending with each other. Grabbing more raw sienna. Adding a few more brush strokes with that. Okay. I'm going to grab some unbleached titanium. Try to get it as clean as possible. We'll add a few just little strategic brush strokes with the unbleached titanium right through that nose area. A little bit above the eye and around it. Here we go. Softening that up a little bit so it's not so scraggly looking. The hairs on this part are a little bit smoother than they are up higher, so we'll get a little bit more detailed with it here in a minute. I'll grab some white and find a clean spot if I can and mix some burnt sienna with the white to make a light version of the burnt sienna. So there's a lot of that color right up here. So right up above the ears. You see how I'm leaving some of these dark areas. I don't want to cover up all of my shadows. Otherwise, you know, it'll defeat the point of putting that darker color down. So I'm putting in a lot of hairs, but I'm leaving a lot of that dark showing through and around. Just kind of filling in around. Okay, so these kind of come in towards the center. Then you've got this starburst thing that happens right here, right? Grab some of the yellow color, do some of that. I'm using the edge of my brush now. Press my brush flat, set it down and just pull. If you did my bear painting, I would say that the cow is pretty close to the bear. It might be a little bit more difficult because of the nose part, but it's pretty similar to the bear, I think, in the way I'm doing the fur and all of that. I got a little bit too much of the dark color covered, so I'm going to grab a little bit more of my burnt sienna here, and I'm just going to pull some of that color back in. Burnt sienna here. Pull a few brush strokes in with it, with that. There we go. Okay, so then this up here is actually doing random. This is that burnt sienna mixture. I'm going to grab some raw sienna now, use a little bit of raw sienna up here. So all these up here go straight up, and then there's like a fold that happens right about here, and they start kind of coming down too. So just sort of do a few coming this way. Leave a gap right here, a little bit of a gap. That'll make sense. So these hairs come up this way, these ones come down this way. It's kind of a and then in the middle, some of them just kind of go sideways. So I'm going to grab some burnt umber, mix a little bit of that burnt umber with that yellow oxide and unbleached titanium mixture, and let's do some of those. I feel like we can get a little bit of that color going. Let's put that color along the outside of the ears here. The burnt umber mixed with the yellow oxide and unbleached titanium. Kind of a light brownish color. Right, now I'm just going to hold it. I've got some paint on there. I'm going to use the edge of it and just kind of pull some dry brush, sort of brush strokes down at an angle. So they're kind of angling down this way. They're not sort of quite angling toward the tip. They're sort of angling down. Go from the edge and just pull. Now that we've got that dark underneath there, it's giving us a good contrast. And grab some burnt sienna. We'll do a few brush strokes this way inside the ear with the burnt sienna. Just mixing with what's on my brush, so it's kind of softening it a little bit. Grab the burnt umber, go really dark right here. And we'll grab some of that unbleached titanium. I'm just going to outline that ear a little bit, so that we see where it is. We'll put a few little highlights along the top ridge. Here there's kind of a light area that happens along that top of the ear. Grab a little bit more of the unbleached titanium. We'll put a few strategic brush strokes in with that, just to emphasize some of this movement that we want. Just a few. There's some highlights around the top of the eye here. A few more over here. I'm using this really light color very sparingly because I don't want to overdo it. But this is really what will give it dimension. So I just want to put a few in. I'm going to grab some more of that white and mix that in with the color. Put a little bit more of the white right in here. Maybe a little bit on the nose. We'll do. Okay, and then I'm going to press that flat and grab a little bit of the burnt umber. So I have the light color on one side and the burnt umber on the other, and it's pushed flat. And I'm going to use that to do my eyelashes, and we'll see if this works. And pull, yep. Pull down over the eye with this. It'll have both of those colors in there, so we won't have to. Let me zoom in and do it real close up on this other one. So I have the light color on this side. I'm pushing through my lighter color on this side, and then I'm turning my brush over and I'm pulling through the darker color on this side. So I have dark and light on my brush, and I'm going to set the brush so the light color is toward the top and the dark color is down, and I'm going to set it right up underneath this line here and just pull my little eyelashes. over the eye slightly. These ones are really short right here, so, and they overlap a little bit. So if you didn't get them bright enough, you can grab a little bit more of the light color and come back in with, make sure your brush is pressed really nice and flat though. You don't want these to be thick. And if you are getting them too thick, you can use a liner brush. That's fine. Totally fine. Let's do a couple of really dark ones there. I think that that's good. So just, they're really dark, long though on these cows, so you can really exaggerate the length. And this one's a little bit darker over here. Okay, then we're going to go over the lid a little bit with the color just to kind of push that back. Let's grab my small liner. This is my number 2. Actually, that's not my number 2 round. Here it is. Number 2 round, I'm going to put back in a little bit of highlight. I'm going to grab some white. And my raw sienna color here. I'll put a little bit of this color in the eye, maybe right in here. Just a little highlight. Right there and there. I'll put a little bit of the raw sienna right here. Grab some of that unbleached titanium. I'm going to go over that lid a little bit more, one more time, to clean up those eyelashes if they got a little bit too much over them. Grab my burnt umber. Actually, I'm going to grab black. Press my brush nice and flat, and I'm going to go right up underneath the eyelashes and make sure that they're nice and dark right there. Maybe pull a few shadows. I just want to make sure that there's like a shadow where the eyelashes are coming out of the eye. That'll really sell the look. Maybe pull it up a little bit into the, pull a little bit of a blend up there. Just trying to get this just right. Grabbing a little bit more unbleached titanium on my brush. I'm gonna tap in some more color around the eye here. Underneath, just a few little random brush strokes to kind of set that eye down, back. Grab some raw sienna. Put a few of those in there too. Just trying to blend between the eye and the rest of the cow. Make sure that it looks like it's part of the face and not just stuck in there. That's better. Oops. Didn't want that brown. Gray. That's all right, actually. I don't mind it. Okay, let's grab a little bit of my Phthalo Blue, Unbleached Titanium. Make this kind of light blue color. I'm just going to add just a few little spots, just a few hints of this color. You want to go real sparingly with it. It's kind of like the red was. You don't want to overdo it, but it will help if you have a little bit of this blue in here. So, because it's pulling the color from the sky down into your painting. I'm too close, darn it. What does it tell me? There we go. I don't want to overdo it, so I don't want to. Going back in with the raw sienna and just kind of blending back over. Grab some raw sienna up in here in the ear. Just multiple colors. Whoops, got some of that yellow in there. Grab some yellow oxide. Do some of that. Do a few little yellow oxide. Here, it's just making sure that I'm kind of using up all my colors in here that I've used in other places so that it all kind of fits. And clean that out. Grab some of my burnt sienna and white mixture. A little bit of unbleached titanium too, just to really brighten it up, and I want to make these ears nice and bright right up in here. There's a lot of red in the fur, so I don't want to get too yellow. Get some burnt sienna. Go back over. Okay, I think it's about there. Grab some more burnt sienna. I'm going to put some more burnt sienna down in here. There's like a little bit of a shadow that's happens right on this part of the face. What do you think, honey? Look like a cow?
It does look like a cow. People in chat were thanking you earlier for the makeup tips.
Makeup tips?
Mm-hmm.
What was I saying about makeup?
Well, you weren't, just but by doing the different colors and layers, they were like, hey, these are good makeup tips.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm glad that you're not reading chat because it has been nonstop puns.
Oh, God.
About cows.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. So.
Okay, well, what's the best one? You can do one.
I was going to start blocking people, but I'd basically be in chat by myself. So.
You're being what by yourself?
I would be all by myself.
Because everybody's doing cow jokes. Huh?
With the puns, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everything from this is moving to no mistaking a Jersey cow.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, burnt umber and burnt sienna here.
I didn't say they were good puns. I just said they were puns.
That's, yeah. So. No mistake. Oh, God. I am not a pun person at all. Mark will tell you. He gets the rolled eyes when he does puns.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pun person. I'm not. I think there's some people that love them and some people that just don't. I'm not. I'm in the don't category. Okay, I'm just adding little dark parts back in here where I'm seeing that there's a little bit lack of definition. Go back in with my light. Just to make sure that it's okay. I'm happy. Cute. This was a really fun one. I enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. Raw burnt sienna. I'm sorry. Unbleached titanium. One of those.
Dirty white.
Dirty white. Here we go. A little bit extra right there. I think we're good. I don't know. What do you think, hun?
I'm wondering what Stickman's going to get today.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's kind of a hard question, isn't it?
I think he needs more cowbell.
More cowbell. Oh, okay. Do some cowbell. That's a good idea. I need to do some on his body here. I'm going to grab some of the raw sienna and unbleached titanium. Mostly raw sienna. And I've switched back to my larger brush. And I'm just going to brush in some highlight areas. Try to keep it random. And I want it pretty nondescript because I want most of the attention on the face, so I don't want it too bright. Okay, I think we're good. Now, at this point, if I got, say, like kind of right in here, I'm thinking, you know, it might be too bright. What I could do is take or I could do some white water or some glazing medium. I'm going to use the burnt sienna here. Wet my brush down. I have water on. I'm going to take off the excess water. I've wet down the paint quite a bit, so it's very thin. And I'm just going to go over and tint. And it actually gives this really beautiful layered effect that you can't get any other way. Even if I, go in with the light burnt sienna, it's still not going to look the same as just tinting this area. So I'm going to tint a few little areas here and show you what that does. Water or glazing medium and just a teeny tiny bit of paint. Just will change the color, change the tint without changing the texture underneath. When I say texture, my paint's pretty flat, but there's these little brush strokes and things that are implying texture. I'm going to do a wash with the burnt umber too.
What brush is that? This
is my large flat. This is number 6 flat. Here.
Okay.
Titanium. This is the one that I started out with using for the background, just to fill in the cow. All right, I think that's good. He's cute. Trying to see if I need to do anything else.
It's a she.
She? Oh. How you tell? Because she doesn't have any horns.
Yeah.
Well, some cows don't have horns. I was looking it up. Some cows don't have horns at all, even the males, and some female cows have horns alongside the males. So.
Hashtag animal facts.
Exactly. Hashtag animal facts. I'm gonna grab the black with my thinner brush here, and I'm just gonna add a few little black lashes over the top of some of these just to kind of define them a little bit better. Okay, I feel like I'm fussing with this now. I know I am.
You think?
I am, but I want it to be right. I want it one more highlight in the eye. I'm going to grab my brush here and dip into my pure white. And I think I want it right kind of towards the center a little bit more. So maybe right in there.
Everybody was impressed that you were calling a starburst instead of a cowlick on their head.
Oh, it is a cowlick. I didn't even think about that. You're right. Well, I didn't even think about the fact that that's where it came from. I'm not very smart today. That did it. Okay, I'm happier now. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
clap your hands.
Putting up with me. What?
Clap your hands.
Clap my hands?
Yeah, because you're happy and you know it.
I am happy and I know it. Okay, I did want to do some more to the background, so I'm going to grab my teal.
Those who are new to the channel, this is nothing new. When she says she's done, she's not done.
No. Oh, be quiet. You're going to scare them off.
Facts are facts. I just don't want them to turn off and miss something.
True. I'm not done. I'm not. I want to mix up a little bit of the background color, a little bit of teal, and I'm just going to put in some random. I'm not going to do it right up to the cow. In fact, I want to make that background color so that I can blend around the cow, and then kind of, I don't want to get it on the eyelids or anything like that. This is just going to give a little bit more movement to the background. So I've got teal, white, and my phthalo blue here. I'm just going to add some randomness around it. See how that just kind of adds a little bit of interest to the background. I could have done this beforehand, but I wanted to get 2 layers of paint down, so I had my blue down first. I'm going to use that darker blue, the background color closest to it that I can, close to the cow, and then I'll do the teal in other spots. Just kind of add a little bit of dimension, interest to the background, a little bit of movement. A few random brush strokes here and there. Just give a little bit more painterly look. There we go. Yay, I like it. Okay. Don't overthink it. Just kind of, that's the tendency. You know, don't overthink your brush strokes. Just kind of slap them on there. Enjoy the process of giving it just a little bit of movement. I'm kind of just going around and pulling some movement in and around the cow.
Looks like he's underwater.
Oh, be quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, there's a reason why we're doing the blue, because, well, I mentioned it at the beginning, but I'm going to use some of the darker phthalo here and there
Yeah,
too.
and I wasn't paying attention.
Is because the undertones in the cow colors that we're using have a lot of orange, and blue and orange are opposites on the color wheel. So by using the blue as a contrast, complementary color in the background, it naturally is it's just an easy way of picking your background color, is by picking a color that's opposite on the color wheel. So, you know, in this case, the blue and the orangey color of the cow are opposite. That means they're complementary. So they're going to naturally make a good composition and a good pleasing. That's why sports teams use complementary colors. So you think about, there's the Denver Broncos and the Lakers colors there.
Well, they just don't have any taste. That's my opinion. But
Just saying, that's why they do it.
so white is
striking.
So white is opposite green on the color wheel.
Red. That's the Christmas colors. Christmas has kind of claimed that.
Well, the Celtics are green and white. They're not opposite on the
Well,
color
I know.
wheel.
I'm not saying that all teams did it right. I'm just
Oh.
saying that.
Oh, did it right. Oh, that's it. I am muting you. The whole video of you just painting. No voice.
I don't know. What do we put in here? Do we need a cow? I guess we need
We've
a cow
had
with
a
our sheep.
cowbell. We've had a glass of milk.
I like
had
the idea of the
fur.
cowbell. Let's do cowbell. Is he holding a cowbell? I guess he's going to be holding the cowbell. It's going to be covering our tree a little bit. So, yeah, our mascot gets something depending on whatever we're painting that day. I think I already mentioned that, but so here's our cowbell. It's not going to look like a cowbell. I can just tell you that right now. Nobody's going to be able to tell what that is. Looks like he's holding a purse again. Or a cowbell.
Oh, no, not another one of those stick men.
I know.
Oh, well.
We still love him. Actually, cowbells are they kind of brass color?
Yeah.
Maybe I need to try that. Maybe it'll look better if it's brass. I don't think I'm redeeming this at all in any way.
Just stop fussing with it.
It doesn't look good.
Just
It's
let
not
it
gonna
go.
be- well, it's not supposed to be perfect anyways. So that's the point of.
That's so hurtful.
I'm just saying, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be stressful.
Oh, okay. That's right. That is true.
Maybe just a little bit of dark brown. I just need the inside of the bell. It's just like not sticking because my paint's getting sticky, so it's not wanting to. There we go. Okay, there's our cowbell. It's not going to look like a cow. People are going to be like, what the heck is that thing? That's okay. That's okay.
Really, everybody, she is a good teacher. Don't judge her on the cowbell,
No,
please.
please don't. Please, please. I do like this one better because I noticed that on mine, the eyes were a little bit small. So I wanted to make the eyes a little bit bigger. It makes it look more calf-like. So I do like that I did the eyes a little bit bigger. He's cute. Hope you guys have enjoyed it today. We've really appreciated you. Congrats to the winner. And thanks to all those who entered last week to our giveaway. If we do another one, I'll be sure to let you know. I'm sure we'll be doing one eventually. I don't know. Maybe if we get t-shirts, we'll give those
Maybe
away.
70,000 or so.
Yeah.
We'll do a big one again, and who
Well, we'll
knows?
almost do 70,000.
Yeah, we might do some small ones in between.
Yeah, there's no telling.
Mhm.
So if you're part of my Patreon group, we're going to be doing the giveaway on Monday for the last remaining gift card. So be sure to check that out. If you are one of my $10 Patreon members and you haven't joined the Facebook group, there is the link on my Patreon homepage. It's patreon.com/AngelaFineArt. So go there and you can find the link to the Facebook group and join that so that you make sure that you see if you win. Because, yeah, I'll let you know either way, though. But, all right, sorry, that might confuse people. Don't worry about it. If you're not part of my Patreon group, it doesn't apply to you. So I don't want to confuse anybody. There's just house talk for those folks. All right, is there anything else we need to say? Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share it. If you click on the little arrow below the video, you can share it on Pinterest and other places. I'd appreciate that. That helps us out tremendously. And we will see you on Tuesday. I don't know what we're doing yet exactly. I think we're going to do real simple something. Maybe flowers. I always like the flowers this time of year. So it'll be fun. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.